So
Right.
Coach Leggett said, what situation or point did everything kind of click for you? Was it a mental breakthrough? Was it a practice? Was it a match? When did it when did it click? Like we talked to my 15-year-old now, and we're like, one day it's going to click on the mat for you, and something's going to happen, right? And it hasn't happened yet, but we're fingers are crossed, right? All the coaches like Coach Leggett and Coach, they all give me that advice. So don't worry, it'll click one day. When was that day for you?
Well, I guess the day mentally was the day I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I remember just having love for myself, being like, maybe I deserve to go find something that I like. As far as on the mats, when it clicked for me, I can't really think about a particular time. There's been just lots of times that I remember just being really like freaking like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. A time. I remember there's this one time where I was going with a guy and I threw a spinning, like just a wire, like how freaking new girls do. I threw a spinning back fist and it landed. And I remember my coach being like, good. And I remember being like, holy shit, like I just did something good, you know? Oh, you know what, too? You know what's a good moment? I had two smokers before I did.
Now explain to us what a smoker is.
A smoker's like a fake MMA fight. It's basically just a hyped up training match, right? Where it's like, I don't know who the girl is I'm going to be having a smoker against. We're just both wearing headgear and shit, right? I had two of them. My first one, I went out there and it wasn't bad per se, but I had all these things I knew. And I just remember being like, oh my God, I'm really doing this. And I remember I took the girl, I hugged her, and I put her on the fence. And that was it. And I remember being so heartbroken because I know I can do better than that. I remember being so angry that I held myself back. And I remember sitting in the sauna after training one day and I remember thinking about it because I had another smoker coming up and I remember being like, why do you care if you lose? Like, why are you so scared? What, why do you feel like you don't deserve this? Why do you feel like you don't deserve this? And, there's so many people and there's so many situations that will hold you back and that will kick you while you're down. Why are you going to do that to yourself? Why are you going to be one of them? So many people are going to hold you back. Why are you going to let yourself be one of them? At least give yourself the opportunity to try, right? And I remember sitting there in the sauna and being like, okay, from now on, we're trying. We're trying. Uh, I don't care if I get knocked out. I don't care if I get submitted. I don't care if I lose. I'm just going to try. And I'm going to really try. And I'm really going to just do my best. And that's going to be enough. That's going to be a win in my book.
And so
And that's when I went in there.
what happened in that second smoker?
In the second smoker, I went in there and I did what my coaches taught me. I went in, I got an armbar. Once you get a submission, they just stand you back up because it's smokers, right? I got a guillotine. I punched. Yeah, and I wasn't a good puncher, but I was like, I got it, just throwing down, right? Um, but I gave myself the opportunity. And I remember I went into a grappling match as well before that. And I remember being like, I'm just going to give myself, I trained for this. I work hard for this. I deserve to consider myself a mixed martial artist. And I deserve to consider myself an athlete now. I deserve to be able to have that great feeling in your chest when you give back, when you can show your coach, I'm going to use what you taught me, what you invested in me, and I'm going to put it to the test, and I'm going to make the most of it. And I remember that being a really big breakthrough
Awesome.
for me. It's like just being like self-doubt will hold you back so much. There's no room for that here.
So today, what inspires you? Obviously, we know what inspired you to get out of your situation. Well, you've done that. And now you're in, I'm sure your confidence is through the roof. What you do every day is passionate. And now, so what inspires you now? Obviously, it's not what was inspiring you. you just signed a pro deal, man. That's fucking badass. But what inspires you today? What makes you continue to get back in the ring, get back in the cage, get back on the mat?
Well, lots of things, right? I guess one of the biggest ones is I just want to give back to MMA. I want to, like, it's really classic, the entire, this sport has saved my life. And this sport did more than save my life. It gave me a life. Through this sport is how I met so many amazing relationships, through this sport is how I became such a better person. And, you know, it's, you said that the things that inspired me back then, maybe they aren't the same as the things inspiring me now, but they are. The same way I woke up back then when I was 400 pounds and just got up and I was like, I'm going to see if I can walk an extra 10 minutes today. I'm going to go a little bit harder. It's the same thing here. I go to practice and I say, I'm going to see if I can push myself a little bit harder. I'm going to see if I can go a little bit faster, and just the joy that that can get. And
How did you stop thinking you were still that girl? What I mean by that is I see when Coach Leggett talks about mindset, when does your mind change? There's a lot of kids out there that found this sport maybe in sixth grade, seventh grade, or eighth grade. They were fat, they were out of shape, they were being picked on, and they got into a wrestling room and they went, oh, and whatever. They were getting tossed around. Now they're in great shape. They wrestle at some of the top clubs. They're putting their effort in as hard as everybody else, but their mind still makes them believe that they're that little 13-year-old fat kid and they can't get past it when they get out on the mat. So you see them training at the club and they're going with top athletes and they look great, but when it transfers to the mat, that mind totally fucks them up. How did you get past that, and how do you tell people to get past that?
well, I guess what I would say is that just the same way they might be that still, out of shape 13-year-old, I'm definitely still that scared, you know, incapacitated 15-year-old. But I think now I understand that she's worthy. There's nothing inherently bad about her. She doesn't not deserve these opportunities. She doesn't, I have love for that girl. And I would say that if the old you is holding you back, maybe find a little compassion for them. See if you can love them a little bit more, because, everyone deserves to have that. Everyone deserves to go out there and to give it their best.
That's awesome.
If you're really struggling, I would say, yeah, look back at yourself and stop looking at that as someone that's not you. Stop looking at that as wasted time. Stop looking at that as something you hate, and start realizing, the worth that I have now as a human being, 23 and an athlete and a professional fighter is the same exact worth I had when I was, 15 and I was so out of shape and so sad and had no friends. It's
Yeah.
the
What
same
what would
exact worth.
your
I'm the same person.
what would your I guess what would your 23-year-old self tell your 15-year-old self?
Mm, just that you can, like you can. If
That's
you put your mind to anything, you really can. And I wish I knew that when I was younger, and I'm happy I know it now. But anything, the same thing that made me able to be a great MMA fighter is the same thing that can make, you great at hosting podcasts, someone great at doing something else, a great manager, a great leader, this and that. Like, find something you like and understand that you can do it. Like, you have the ability. Like, there is nothing holding you back except you. And of course there's situations and those, things you have to overcome. But equal opportunity doesn't exist, but opportunity always exists, right? And you really can believe in yourself.